Ahoy there. Okay, so I've been kidnapped by my family. I'm somewhere in the lesser 48. It's about 100 and something degrees. All the houses look the same. I'm going to try to get back to Alaska. I owe you an answer on what's up with the bus. So, look at that. All of a sudden we're back in beautiful Alaska. And I'm missing the lower Midwest, not at all. Anyhow, I'm gonna show you what we do for a walk around the bus. Okay, first thing we do is I start at the front and basically I do a circle. I'll do a general walk around, look at all the tires, but I'll also start up here because in typical school bus fashion, I can actually check the antifreeze right here because a big part of it's checking the fluids. Antifreeze is perfect, good to go. Got about this much clearance because you have to allow room for expansion. Okay, now we're gonna work our way around, look at the tires. Now tire inflation is critical. And tire inflation is probably one of the most important things with a bus, especially your steer tires. Now in this case, what we've done, we've added TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system. So we have a wireless system now that monitors the air pressure on all the tires. So on this bus, the way the pressures work, it's 115 PSI in the front, 90 PSI in the back. The DPMS is programmed for that. That's a tire pressure monitoring system. So we can just push a button on the inside and check the pressures. That's cool. Tire age is the most important thing. Obviously, we're going to look at it. We're going to see if there are any visual defects. Okay, so work my way around. Again, I'm just kind of looking, make sure nothing's hanging down underneath. Make sure we don't have any surprises. Now these tires, 7 years tends to be the length service for these, and we're actually not that far off. So we're going to be actually looking at getting some new tires soon. With the new ones in the front, rotate them to the back, and we'll work that out. To maintain our budget, I'm going to try to just replace 2 a year for a little while.
Plus in storage, you usually have your covers on.
Oh yeah, yep, we usually cover them. It's summer, so it's only kind of in semi-storage right now. Now when I work my way to the back, again, without it running, I can't check any of the lights right now, but I can still check just to make sure there are no surprises, nothing happened while it was parked here. Now the big mud flap that we have back here, because we have the air suspension, right now it's just touching the ground. That's right how it should be. Okay, so our batteries are in here, but hey, as long as it starts, we're good. Again, same deal, gonna look at the tires, make sure we don't have any surprises here. These are some pretty big tires, but having that wireless system really helps. Now, if we were camping, this is where all the hookups are. Now, on a Wanderlodge, it's pretty easy because both the wiring and the water go into this door. So if this door is open, then we know we're still hooked up. If we were hooked up to septic, that's underneath down there. Now, this has a hinge that is supposed to hold it open. However, little tech tip, if you ask somebody to close this thing, make sure you tell them that they have to release the little arm. And if any of you know where I can buy another arm, please go ahead and leave us a comment because, well, yeah, you know. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and take a look on the inside, see what we got to do to get this thing let off. Okay, so all buses are different, right? In this case, our bus has been modified with solar and a bunch of other stuff, built-in surge protector and electrical analyzer. So the way we had our bus set up, in here, this is where our charge controller and inverter, 3500 watt inverter is. In addition, this is where our 120 volt outlet is, and this is where my first master battery disconnect is located. And you always want to make sure that you're shutting off the master battery disconnect wherever it's located on your bus. If you don't have one, really the only other option is to make sure to disconnect the negative terminal from your batteries to the point where your batteries are no longer hooked up to the chassis. Because you don't want to be drawing power down and running everything down while you're not here. So, there we go. That's switch number 1. Step number 2, turn on the second one. Now, it's behind here on this particular forward control 1986 Wanderlodge. This is where the electronics master control switch is. And it's right back here where it says electronics master. And I'll flip that up. That's really all it is. It's not very exciting. We can see that the clock is now indicating time. So that switch, if you don't turn it off when you're getting everything ready, this will run the batteries down while you're not here. Okay, now I have to dig my way down to the engine. So I'm going to remove this. Now this has a lot of wiring, so I actually have to just put it up here. Now, if you have a bus like ours, we have two ways to open this area, which is called the doghouse. It's got latches here if you just want to open the back part, if you're only checking the oil and the transmission fluid. I'm going to be checking everything. So I'm going to release the main latch, and then I'm going to open the whole thing. Now, I've got a wiring harness back here that I have to be careful of, so I'll hold that out of the way, then lift up until it pops into place. Okay. Now from here, it gets a little more complicated. This particular engine is a 3208 turbo, 250 horsepower. So some of the things I'm going to check, and I'll just point them out because otherwise this gets pretty messy. Right here, this canister, that's the power steering reservoir, and it's attached to the air cleaner box, which is right here. So this is the power steering. I'll take that cover off, make sure that's at the appropriate level. I'll look around, make sure I don't see any surprises or any leaks.
Or any friends that may have came in and built the house.
Or critters, yes, absolutely. I'll look around here for fluid. Now down here in the valley, this is where my leak was starting to show its ugly head. It appears as though my throttle shaft seal is leaking. So, if you can see over here, I've got two dipsticks. Down here, we've got the main engine oil, and then up here we have the transmission fluid. Now the transmission fluid, this Allison 643, just like your car at home, where it's got to be running and warmed up before we can check that, but we can check the oil level now. And just like on a Detroit, this Cummins, you unscrew it to release the pressure on the gasket, then you pull it up, and take a look at it. Reading just a little bit high, but we're in good shape. This 3208 burns a surprisingly small amount of oil. And it really doesn't leak at all. Now I'm used to Jimmy's or, Detroit diesel 2-strokes. So yeah, I'm used to topping off the oil pretty much all the time. Next, there's a third battery switch located under the dashboard, and it's in the same spot in most of the Wanderlodge buses. I'm going to reach under there and kind of fumble around until I find it. Once I turn that on, we'll see everything light up, and that's when we know that I'm ready to start the bus. Okay, I turned it on. Now, because the bus has been in storage for a while, I'm going to leave this open because I want to see if there are any surprises when I start it. Going through the gauges, that'll be a separate video altogether because there's quite a bit here to see. Now go ahead and listen to how quickly this thing starts. You'll hear a warning come on, but that's because the suspension is dumped and the oil pressure is low, obviously because it's not running. Voila! Okay. So, sorry we had to cut that a little bit short. We had a plane to catch because, this whole getting back to Alaska thing, we weren't all the way back to Kodiak yet. And in between then and now, we've had to deal with that 8.2 earthquake you might have seen on the news, biggest one in like 50 years, getting evacuated for tsunami warning again. And then today, we lost power on everything. So it's kind of been a challenge, but hey, we're still on time. So in the near future, our plan is to fly back to Anchorage. We're gonna go over all the gauges, what they all mean, and what the specifications are. As always, love the comments. Really appreciate all the feedback from you guys. And if you're one of our new subscribers, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, don't be a lurker.